Here in Montreal at Centre Bell, I am with Craig Button, TSN's Director of Scouting. Long-time buddy. How you doing, Craig?
Doing great, and to have everybody together again since 2019 at the draft in a fabulous location in Montreal, and then the drama that played out with the Canadians, it was just phenomenal, wasn't it? Everybody together in this second through seventh round rolled along pretty quickly, and as it should, but real fun time here.
Last night was, there was so much action, it took a little bit longer, but the GMs, it was a concerted effort. I think some guys had some flights later on this afternoon that they wanted to make because it went quickly.
Well, it did, but it speaks to how well prepared the teams are, right? And it comes up to your pick, they announce you, and they're right to it, right? And there's some trades, as there's always going to be in this type of a draft. I think it just, the scouts work so hard, the front office teams are understanding, here's what we can do. Do you want to do it? Do you not want to do it? And then get to work and get after it. And I thought it was just executed really nicely.
Let's talk about the Golden Knights picks, and we'll start right off in the second round.
Yeah, well, Matyas Sapovaliv, he's just a big, strong centerman. And, you look back to the Vegas Golden Knights draft pick of Jakub Demek, a Slovakian, you think about what the Slovaks did at this draft, but Jakub Demek is a really good, big, strong. I call those types of players, Gary, that they take space from you. And because they assert themselves, they're play forward, they have initiative to their game, and it's hard to get edges on them and advantage on. That's how Matyas plays. And, he's good around the net. I don't think he's going to be a big offensive player, but he's not going to be any fun to play against. And he's going to be a player that's going to be able to play against good players because he's got such good hockey sense and understanding of the game, and he's a big-time competitor. So, Gary, if you want to win in this league, and I'm not talking about winning during the regular season, I'm talking about winning the Stanley Cup, you better have size on the wings, you can have size in the middle of the ice and on the blue line. If you have those elements in place and good goaltending, you're going to compete for Stanley Cups. That's the type of player that Matyas is.
Jordan Gustafson, a guy who plays in a lot of situations in Seattle and on a good team out there, and is a heady player already.
Absolutely, Gary, and you use the term heady. You can play Jordan at center or left wing. You can play him in offensive spots. You can put him in defensive spots. He just understands the game in all its critical and essential areas, and he's a big-time competitor. I think Jordan has so much potential to improve. Keep in mind, a lot of these kids didn't play for periods of time, or they had pauses and starts at key points of their developmental cycle. To me, Jordan, and what he was just part of in Seattle, going right to the Western Hockey League final, that's only going to help him. But he's a player that when the game begins and all through the game, no matter how challenging it is, he's up for it.
Vegas has used picks to get goalies in the past, and they move up to get a goalie today.
Well, when you think about Cameron Whitehead, Cameron, right? Yeah. So he's going to need some time, right? That's okay. Just take him, put him aside, let him incubate, let him grow. And when you got what I feel are really good qualities of technical aspects, you got the athletic abilities. Goaltending is about perfection. It's like pitching in baseball. You got to learn how to goaltend. Just like you have to learn how to pick. You can have a fast glove hand and a really good fast kick save and all those things to go with it, but you still have to learn the techniques of the position. And I think that he's got all the elements. You look at a foundation of a goaltender. He's got a foundation. Now he's going to put in the work, and now it's just getting the people around him to work on those fine details of goaltending.
A couple of things for him. He's already committed to go back to the USHL for another year. He'll go to Northeastern for 2023 for that season. And now he's going to work with Sean Burke, who is director of goaltending for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Well, so there's a couple of three things there. Go back and master the level you're at. There's nothing wrong with going back to the USA. For goaltenders, it's about playing time. Play. Just get into the net, and somebody's going to work with you. Then you get to go to Northeastern. Jerry Keefe's a heck of a coach, and that Northeastern program, led by Jimmy Madigan, is so phenomenal for development. So it's not just that they're a good team with good players; they work with their players. And now you talk about Sean Burke. Okay. Well, Sean understands the position pretty darn well. He works at helping goaltenders do that. And I think that the great thing about Sean is that he can relate to what a player's going through in his own development because he was there. And then he understands what a goaltender can take in at any particular moment in time and then help him navigate through that. Goaltenders are going to have to learn, but when you have a teacher, a professor like Sean Burke, only going to benefit him and the Vegas Golden Knights.
You mentioned mastering your craft, and it's interesting. Kelly McCrimmon said to me a while ago, why would you expect a guy to score 40 in the NHL if he never scored 40 in the American League or never scored 40 at college or in Canadian junior hockey? Well, Patrick Guay scored 55 this year with a really good Charlottetown team in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and he has mastered his craft.
He should have been drafted last year, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be straightforward with it, okay? I mean, Patrick's been a gifted player. All he did this year was just show everybody, oh, maybe we should have drafted you last year. He is. Do you know what he is, Gary? He's a shrewd, cunning goal scorer. He's a player that shows up at the right spots at the right times. I'm gonna tell you who he reminds me of a little bit. You know the guy pretty good.
Okay.
He plays for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Jonathan Marchessault.
Oh, you know it. It's exactly. I knew you'd.
I thought we were in Montreal, so I thought you might say Brendan Gallagher. But
no.
Guys that go to the net and guys that are smaller but play big.
But you know what? Like, that's Brendan, and certainly Patrick's going to go to the net. But the way Jonathan plays the game, all of a sudden he's open, the puck's off his stick, it's in the net, right? And you look at defenders, and defenders are going, where did he come from? Patrick knows how to get open at the. It's not just to be. Everybody talks about release and how hard a shot is. All the kids can shoot. Do you get to the right spots at the right times to not give the defenders a chance to mark you and stop you? That's really high-end, what I call scoring intelligence. Patrick Guay has high-end scoring intelligence.
Ben Hemmerlin, the Golden Knights draft him, and I got a text from somebody out west, says right away, really like him at that spot.
He would have been drafted higher if Everett would have gone deeper in the playoffs.
They lost in the first round. Had great success in the regular season, knocked out early.
Big upset, by the Vancouver Giants. Mike Dick did a hell of a job with the Giants there. But you start to think about a player that if he kept playing again, I keep going back to players that miss time playing. So you're not just missing time playing. You're missing those opportunities to challenge yourself. And some of the best learning experiences are when you've gone through and go, okay, I didn't have success there, but now I'm learning. I know what I'm trying to do here, right? And so every time you watched him play, you could see like there was progression in his game. And that's why I say if that team would have gone deeper, I really believe you would have seen more of that and he would have gone higher in the draft. So I think it's one of those really. He gets an opportunity. Dennis Williams is a really good coach in Everett. He knows how to work with players and help them get better. And I think, you get him in that spot, just let him keep playing, let him keep going, and away he goes.
The development curve, hockey evaluators will tell you, every playoff game is worth 2 to 3 regular season games in terms of what you learn based on the intensity alone.
Yeah, and the intensity of how teams defend, right? Like, we know the intensity is high in terms of like the physical play, but they defend hard and they defend fiercely, right? So if you're a goal scorer and you're an offensive player, you got to find a way to understand what you're up against and then find a way to have success facing that. So those are hugely beneficial for any young player to go through those. We call them the playoff battles, but they're developmental areas that really help a player, continue to launch upward. And
we know there are some players that don't play well in the playoffs, and the Golden Knights don't want any of those. They like to play well in the playoffs. Last guy, Abram Wiebe, big defenseman going to North Dakota.
Well, so there's 2 parts there. Big defenseman, who's going to North Dakota. So I know.
All good.
Well, again, I go back to the size, but this is a player that has what I would call raw ability. Think about Zach Whitecloud. Okay, Zach Whitecloud never got drafted. Developed, went to university. Now, he's a real good piece of the Vegas Golden Knights. So when you look at Wiebe, Brad Berry's going to do a hell of a job with him at North Dakota, right? And again, it's just he needs some time, and as he takes that time, it allows him to grow into his game because he's got that side. He understands, how to disrupt opponents. He knows, he doesn't have to run you through the boards, but he gets into your space and he makes it difficult for you, and he reads the play really quickly and he reads it really well. Those are the types of players, to me, give them the runway to develop, give them the time to go through that process, and at the end of it, you find yourself a lot of times with a player that has a chance to play in the NHL. No one in the media in the hockey world knows. A lot of GMs don't know it like he does. He's Craig Button. We're really lucky to have him. Thanks very much, Craig. Oh, always my pleasure, Gary.